Welcome, beautiful and handsome people, to Fiery Faith TV with Rebekah Acquah. A new episode drops every Sunday at 4 p.m. And trust me, this one's for you. This, I said, faith, fiery faith, not just any kind of faith. Not just any kind of faith. Fiery faith, crazy faith. And because you're here, you're the right person in the right place at the right time. Faith on fire, my faith on fire people. How are you guys doing? Want to check in with you. You're burning with belief. Is your flame still going? And then my faith on films. Comment. You're tired. You've been praying, waiting, hoping, but nothing seems to change. My hope for you as you continue to tune in and show up is that things do start changing, that your fire starts blazing. And for my lovely Faith on Pause audience, Faith on Pause family, Faith on Pause friends, you're not sure what you believe. Maybe you've been hurt by religion, by those who say they have faith, by those who are supposed to be representative of what it looks like to truly believe. Maybe life knocked the wind out of you. Maybe you're just searching. Maybe some of us, maybe you're just stubborn. How are you doing? My hope for you is that your faith on pause, you hit the play button and turn up the heat. Because if you keep listening, I can tell you for sure, you listen, you show up, there are seeds being planted and things will start to change. My hope is they change for the better. So let's get started into today's episode. This is Fiery Faith TV with Rebekah Acquah. Here's my opening question for you today. You are ugly. You are beautiful. You'll be a troublemaker. You're the best person I've ever met. God hates you. You made one mistake and hell it is. God loves you despite your many, many mistakes. Grace in Jesus. Heaven is your home. So, which one of these statements that I just made will you believe? Which ones do you believe? Today we'll be talking about words. Words and their power. Let's talk about it. Words shape beliefs. Beliefs shape faith. Faith shapes destiny. In this Bible, James 1 verse 5 to 6 reminds us, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, but let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. In the same round, Romans 10 verse 8 to 10 says, the word is near you, in your mouth and in your heart. If you declare with your mouth, Jesus is Lord, and believe in your heart, you will be saved. Even the world's best-selling book, the Bible, knows this. Words matter, but belief begins in the heart. Faith is established afterward. I'll say that again. Belief begins in the faith. Is established afterward. I go back to my definition of faith. How faith is the consistent action steps, spiritually, physically, emotionally, right? Real life experience. Here I am, hanging with the homeless people at North Penn Station while I was in college. People said to me, be careful. You're too young to be out there with the homeless. I said, God placed this on my heart. I must go. And I did. I built relationships. I heard stories and I was kept safe. Then I became somewhat homeless myself. And my best friend can testify to this, that 2 weeks after my time with the homeless, with those who are giving the short end of the stick and ended up homeless. After 2 weeks of spending with them, hearing their stories, I then was opportune to live in my car, brushing my teeth with bottle of water, sleeping in the back seat, charging my phone at the school library, and still I kept going at North Penn Station. I felt covered, despite what I heard people say that it's dangerous, don't go. And don't get me wrong, there are times where dangers are prevalent and wisdom is key. Yet, when you truly believe in something and you are being led by God to do so, words by others who say otherwise, which will you believe? So I kept going, despite me being in some way homeless myself, living in my car for that 2 weeks, just so I can finish up my summer semester at school. I felt covered, held by God Himself. And guess what? I earned an A that summer. I earned an A that semester. And a deeper love for those without homes or access to education. Here's another real life experience that we share on here at Fire Faith TV. The weakest link they said I was. You won't get into that program. They only accept 14 students. You're not qualified. Guess what my words to them was? I'll apply anyway. God has high standards for me. Those were my words. And maybe, possibly, the people who said that I wouldn't get in probably had experiences where they didn't get into these high-end schools, or they didn't get in, or they didn't see other people get in despite trying and despite different opportunities. Maybe because of their experiences, it didn't work out for them. So then their words grew into some form of negativity that was then placed on me. And I was not accepting that. I had to reciprocate with my own words, my own strong belief that God has high standards for me. So when someone said to me, "You're not qualified," I said, "God qualifies the unqualified. I'll apply anyway." And guess what? A program that only accepts 14 students a year, I got in. And I was the only African American in the program. The only African. I became the commencement speaker of that same program. My GPA at one point in the program, here's another, was 2.53. And this is a program where you needed 3.0. And I was dismissed from the same program. But this Faith on Fire individual that you're listening to, I never stopped attending. I kept going. And in fact, the program is 3 years. I wrote my commencement speech the very year that I got accepted. So moving on to the second year, when I got dismissed from the program, there was no way I wasn't going to keep going. Because I know what the word told me, what God told me. He said I would become a speaker, and therefore I must be. That's the belief that I want, and I ask and I seek that everyone listening on this program will emerge into. I wrote my speech 3 years before I was even chosen to be commencement speaker, because God told me to. They asked me when it was time to give my commencement speech, "Do you have to include the faith part?" I said, "Most definitely I do. If you only knew how I got here, being told I wouldn't get into this program, my GPA being so low, being immediately dismissed from the program." Yet I kept going. I then used the action steps, physical action steps that I said in the definition of faith, right? I did do my part. I appealed. I did do my part. I worked harder, and I did get that 3.0 GPA. In fact, I graduated with a 3.4 GPA. I became the commencement speaker of that same program, not having to wait another 3 years. No, that same program. So I did the physical part. The spiritual part was already at work. I had to do the physical part. So I ask you today, my people, my friends, my listeners, are you doing the physical, spiritual, and emotional part of faith? Here's a little activity I would like for us to get involved in today before we end this episode. It's called word swap exercise. Just like how throughout my journey, I've heard words that were self-defeating phrases. I heard words that told me I was nothing, that I will not make it, that I will not get in. Words that if I would have accepted would have placed fear in me. So, what words are you accepting? Replace those self-defeating phrases with faith-affirming statements. So how do our words reflect our source? I am going to put a little, you can call it homework assignment, or ask that you complete, it's called Words Faith Exercise from my book called Fiery Faith. The exercise is that declaring, what are you believing God, your source, to do in your life? Okay? Now rank from the highest to the lowest. What are some mental blocks that will stop you from this? So what are you believing God to do in your life? Write that down, and then you list mental blocks. For example, self-doubt, perfectionism, things that will stop you from having this done. Then you write down emotional blocks. For example, fear or rejection or burnout, whatever it is. What are some emotional blocks that will prevent you from doing what God has said will happen in your life, or what you are declaring with God to happen in your life? What are the physical blocks? Is it limited time? Is it challenges? What physical challenges that you believe or you think will stop you? Is it busyness? Is it kids? Is it your spouse? Is it your job? What are the physical blocks? And then what are the spiritual blocks that is preventing this from happening? Is it distractions from your prayer life? Wavering trust? Is it you not even believe that you are a spiritual being for those who faith is on pause? Is it you don't even believe in anything? Are you doing this alone? What spiritual blocks? And then number 2, what else are you believing God to do? For example, I will say build a mentorship network through Eve's Grace Scholastic Innovation, which is the organization that I have, that by the grace of God, I am the CEO of, right? So you list this. I want you to list 3 different things that you are believing and declaring to happen, and then list the mental blocks, the emotional blocks, the physical blocks, and the spiritual blocks that is preventing this from happening, right? And then write these obstacles down to release them from your mind. Use this list to create action steps that uproot negative thoughts. Now speak life over your goals. Your words shape your destiny. Your words shape your destiny. Let your works reflect your faith, because faith without works is dead. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. This is taken from the famous book, the best-selling book, John 15, verse 7 to 8. The heavenly constitution called the Bible. And when the Son of Man returns, as you do these exercises, as you walk in faith, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, are taking steps. When the Son of Man returns, he may actually find faith on earth. Really hope he does. Now, words can wound and words can heal. But when your words are rooted in faith, they can resurrect destiny. Whether you're just learning to spark your faith or keeping it unquenchable through life's furnace, remember, you're the right person in the right place at the right time. Don't keep this fire to yourself. Now, if this episode stirs something in you, share it. Let someone else catch the flame. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Feel free to email me at RebekahAcquah@gmail.com. That's RebekahAcquah@gmail.com. And because someone needs this blaze, this is Fiery Faith TV with Rebekah Acquah. Stay ignited and speak life. See you next Sunday at 4 p.m. Bye-bye, family.